You are holding a photograph that should not still exist. The edges crumble under your fingers, shedding white dust that clings to your skin. The image is almost gone, faces blurred, colors leached into a single tired yellow, but the shape in the center refuses to fade. A dog, golden, sitting, looking straight at the camera like it knew this moment would matter later. Your breath doesn't stop. It misfires, like a machine that suddenly forgets its rhythm. Behind you, the abandoned veterinary clinic groans as the wind presses against its broken windows. Somewhere inside the building, metal taps metal, a loose cabinet door maybe, or something settling after decades of being left alone. You stand just inside the doorway, rain dripping from your coat, shoes sinking slightly into the worked wooden floor. The air smells wrong, old antiseptic, rust, mildew, and underneath it all, something warmer, animal, familiar. You haven't been here in 30 years. You weren't supposed to come back at all. Yet here you are, fingers locked around a photograph you found tucked inside a patient file bearing a name you haven't spoken out loud since childhood. Lucky. The word trembles through you, silent but heavy. Outside, a dog waits. You can hear him breathing through the open doorway. Slow, patient, the sound of a body that has learned how to endure time. You don't turn around yet, because the photograph is doing something impossible. As you stare at it, the image seems to soften. The faded outline of the dog sharpens in your mind, filling with weight and warmth. You remember the feel of fur under your palm, the way his ears twitched when someone said his name, the way he always sat just slightly in front of your sister, like a promise he intended to keep. A sound escaped you, not a word, not quite a sob, something smaller, something older. The clinic answers with silence. You lower yourself onto a cracked vinyl chair, the kind meant for worried owners and restless pets. It creaks under your weight, complaining the way your knees do now. Dust lifts into the air, dancing in a thin blade of gray light cutting through the broken window. You tell yourself you're just tired. That memory does this sometimes. It reaches out when you least expect it and drags you backward without asking permission. But the file in your lap is real. You open it again. The paper inside is brittle, yellowed, but the ink is still legible. Dates, measurements, notes written in a careful hand you recognize instantly. Dr. Harris, your father's best friend. The man who ran this clinic. The man who promised everything would be fine. You trace a finger along the handwriting, feeling the faint groove left by a pen pressed hard with concentration. Male Labrador Retriever. Golden. Estimated age, 3 years. Your heart shifts, not fast or sideways, like something inside you trying to hide. Because 30 years ago, Lucky was already 3. You swallow. The motion hurts. You flip the page. Treatment notes. Routine checkups. A small scar noted on the left hind leg. Your fingers stop. You know that scar. You gave it to him yourself by accident. A broken bottle near the creek. Blood everywhere. Your sister screaming his name while you pressed your hands against his leg, begging him to stay still. You remember thinking, even then, that he trusted you too much. The memory doesn't arrive gently. It crashes. Sounds and smells and the sharp taste of fear flood your mouth. You close the file too quickly. The clinic exhales again, wood popping softly as the temperature shifts. Outside, the dog shifts too. His nails scrape once against concrete. He hasn't barked since you arrived. That's strange. Most dogs bark at abandoned places. At ghosts? At unfamiliar cars pulling up after decades of quiet? This one didn't. You force yourself to stand. The chair protests. So do your joints. Time has carved its presence into you, the way water shapes stone. At the doorway, you stop. The dog sits just beyond the threshold, rain darkening the fur along his back. His coat is paler than it once was, threaded with silver around the muzzle. His eyes, still brown, still steady, lift to meet yours. Something in your chest folds inward. He doesn't rush you, doesn't wag, doesn't whine. He just looks like he's been waiting for you to notice. You shouldn't be here, you say. Your voice sounds wrong in this place. Too thin, too late. The dog's tail moves once. Slow, careful, not excitement, recognition. Your hands curl into fists. You tell yourself it's coincidence. Dogs look alike, Labradors especially. You've known others, loved others, buried 2 since Lucky vanished. This is just another old dog, just another day you let grief lead you somewhere it shouldn't. Still, you step outside. Rain cools your face, slicking your hair back, seeping into the lines time etched around your eyes. The dog smells like wet earth and something faintly medicinal. Flea shampoo, maybe. A scent that doesn't belong to a stray. Where did you come from? You ask. He blinks. Slow, intent. Your gaze drops to his leg. Left hind, the fur there grows differently. A subtle swirl, barely visible unless you're looking for it. Beneath it, a ridge under the skin. A scar. Your knees weaken. You grab the doorframe, breath turning shallow, then erratic. The rain seems to fall louder, each drop a small feow against your senses. No, you whisper. The dog stands. He moves with stiffness, age announcing itself in each careful step. But his path is direct. He closes the distance between you without hesitation, stopping just close enough that you can feel his warmth. He lifts his head and presses it gently against your hip. The contact is precise, familiar. 1,000 mornings rise up inside you. Cold floors, bare feet, that exact weight leaning into your leg while coffee brewed and your sister laughed at something only she found funny. Your hands hover useless. Lucky? The name slips out before you can stop it. The dog exhales, a deep, contented sound. His eyes close for half a second. The world tilts. You! Drop the photograph! It flutters to the ground, landing face up in a shallow puddle. Water bleeds into the image, blurring past and present together. You sink to your knees. The dog lowers himself too, mirroring you, his body aligned with yours like it always was. His tail thumps once against the wet concrete. Not fast, not playful, certain. 30 years collapse into a single, fragile moment. And somewhere beneath the roar of disbelief, beneath the ache clawing up your spine, a question forms. Quiet, terrible, and impossible to ignore. If he's here, you don't stand up right away. Your knees are on wet concrete, rain soaking through the fabric of your slacks, cold pressing in until your bones register it as something sharp and undeniable. The dog's body is warm against your side, solid, breathing, real. You rest your palm on his shoulder before you can talk yourself out of it. The fur there is coarse with age, thickened by years, but the shape beneath your hand is unchanged. The slope of muscle, the steady patience. You can't be, you murmur. The words fall uselessly between you. The dog's ear flicks. He doesn't pull away, doesn't lean harder either. He simply stays, as if he understands that balance matters right now. You push yourself upright slowly, one hand braced against the doorframe, the other still touching him. When you sway, he shifts his weight to counter yours. Not trained, instinctive. You notice then the collar. It's leather, old but cared for. The brass tag is dulled, the engraving worn smooth by time and weather. You crouch again, fingers stiff as you lift it. The name is barely legible. But you know the shape of the letters. Your mouth goes dry. Your tongue feels too large for it. Someone has carved over the original inscription. The newer letters are shallow, hesitant. Another name, maybe. Another life layered on top of the first. But beneath it, pressed deeper, older, stubborn. The original marking still survives. Lucky. Your vision fractures. Rain streaks across your glasses, blurring the world into streaks of gray and gold. You wipe at them with the heel of your hand, smearing water instead of clearing it. No one else knew that name, you say. The dog's tail moves again. Once, a small answer. You look toward the clinic. The building seems smaller now. Less like a place frozen in memory and more like what it truly is. A husk. Peeling paint. A sagging roofline. Windows clouded with decades of neglect. You remember it alive. Fluorescent lights buzzing. The smell of disinfectant so strong it stung your nose. Your sister sitting on the counter, swinging her legs while Lucky lay at her feet, chin on paws, watching everyone like it was his job. You squeeze your eyes shut. When you open them, the dog is still there. Come on, you whisper, though you're not sure who you're talking to. He rises with effort, joints clicking softly. You open the clinic door wider and step inside, holding it for him. For a moment, he hesitates at the threshold. Not fear, memory. It's okay, you say. It's just us. He crosses into the building, nails tapping on the warped floor. The sound echoes louder than it should be, bouncing off empty rooms that once held voices and hope. Inside, the air feels thicker. Stale. The dog sniffs once, twice, then sneezes, a sharp, irritated sound that almost makes you smile. Almost. You guide him toward the exam room without thinking. Your feet know the way. They remember paths your mind pretends to forget. The metal table still stands in the center, rust freckling its surface. Cabinets hang open, their contents long gone. On the wall, a faded poster of canine anatomy curls at the corners. The dog stops beside the table. He looks up at it, then at you. Your chest tightens, not with panic, but with pressure, like something pressing outward, demanding space. This is where you used to hate coming, you say softly. You'd hide behind her legs. The dog shifts, sits, and leans slightly into your shin. You swallow hard. You open the file again, spreading the papers across the table. The dog watches your hands, eyes following each movement with quiet focus. The dates don't make sense. The earliest entry matches the year Lucky disappeared. The same month. The same week. Your sister's name appears nowhere, but the treatments continue, year after year. Vaccinations, dental cleanings, notes about arthritis beginning in the hips, a surgery to remove a benign growth when the dog was. Your breath stutters. 20. No Labrador lives that long. Your fingers tremble, not violently, but persistently. Control slips, not all at once, but grain by grain. There has to be an explanation, you say, though the room offers none. You hear footsteps then, not inside the clinic, outside. Your head snaps toward the sound. The dog's ears lift, body alert but not tense. Familiarity again, recognition without alarm. A shadow passes the broken window, then a voice. Lucky? The name floats in, hesitant, unsure. Your heart slams once, hard enough to make your vision dim at the edges. The dog stands. He walks toward the door, tail moving faster now, but still restrained, as if age has taught him caution. You follow, legs unsteady. A man stands just beyond the threshold, rain beading on his jacket. He's middle-aged, hair threaded with gray, eyes sharp but kind. In his hand is a leash. He looks from the dog to you, confusion tightening his expression. I'm sorry, he says. He wandered off when I stopped to make a call. He usually doesn't. He stops when he really sees your face. Something changes. His gaze flicks back to the clinic. To the dog. Back to you. You found the records, he says quietly. The words hit you like cold water. You know, you reply. Not a question. A realization. He nods once. I've been waiting for this day, he says, for someone to come back. Rain drums harder against the roof, a steady, insistent sound. The dog sits between you, solid and unmoving, as if anchoring both sides of a truth too large to hold alone. Your voice feels borrowed when you speak again. Where has he been, you ask. All these years. The man exhales slowly, eyes dropping to the dog's graying head. With someone who loved him, he says, and with someone who never stopped missing you. The room seems to tilt, reality loosening its grip. Your hands curl into the leash before you realize you've reached for it. Tell me, you say, because whatever waits behind the answer, you know now there's no turning back. The man doesn't step inside right away. He stands in the rain, one hand still holding the leash, as if crossing the threshold requires permission from something older than either of you. The dog waits between you, body angled toward him but eyes never leaving yours. You notice the leash then. It's frayed, softened by years of use. Not the kind bought last week. You should come in, you say. Your voice sounds steadier than you feel, like it's pretending on your behalf. The man hesitates, then nods. He steps into the clinic, shaking rain from his jacket. The sound feels too loud in the hollow space. He closes the door partway, leaving it ajar, as if sealing it completely would trap the past inside with you. I'm Daniel, he says. I help take care of him now. The word stretches, thin and fragile. How long, you ask. Daniel looks at the dog. His mouth tightens, not with reluctance, but with care, like someone handling something that could splinter if pressed too hard. Not long, he says. Just the last few years. Your gaze drops to Lucky's back. The gentle rise and fall of his breathing anchors you, keeps you from drifting too far into the noise inside your head. And before that, you ask. Daniel exhales, long and slow. He reaches up, rubs the back of his neck, then lets his hand fall. You won't believe me, he says. Try, you reply. He glances at the exam room, then back at you. It might be easier if we sit. You nod. The movement costs more than it should. You lower yourself onto the same cracked chair from before. Lucky follows immediately, settling at your feet with a soft huff, his body pressed close enough that you feel the warmth through your shoes. Daniel leans against the counter instead of sitting. Keeps distance. Respectful. He wasn't supposed to survive, Daniel begins. Not that long. Not at all. Your fingers dig into the edge of the chair. The vinyl creaks under the pressure. He disappeared the same day my sister did, you say. Everyone told us he ran off. That dogs do that when something bad happens. Daniel's eyes flick up sharply. They told you that? He asks. You nod. It was easier. For them, he says quietly. The dog lifts his head at the sound of Daniel's voice. Their eyes meet. Something unspoken passes between them. Familiarity, yes, but also wait. 30 years ago, Daniel continues, this clinic was still operating. Dr. Harris kept records meticulously, more than most vets. He documented anomalies. You flinch at the word. He noticed Lucky didn't age the way he should, Daniel says. At first it was subtle. A year passed, then 2, still strong, still healthy. By the time anyone realized something was wrong or right, depending on how you look at it, it was too late to ignore. Your mouth feels dry. I'm saying time didn't move through him the way it moves through the rest of us. The sentence lands without drama, no flourish, no explanation that would make it easier to accept. Lucky shifts, turning in a small circle before settling again, his back pressed to your shin. You laugh once. It comes out brittle. That's not possible. Daniel nods. I know. Silence stretches between you, thick and uncomfortable. Somewhere deeper in the building, water drips steadily, counting seconds no one asked for. What about my sister? You ask. Daniel's shoulders tense. Just slightly. She stayed, he says. The words don't register at first. They slide past you, harmless. Then they circle back. She stayed where? You ask. With him, Daniel says. Here, for a while. The room tilts. Not violently, just enough to throw off your balance. She was a child, you say. She disappeared. There were searches. Police. They said she ran, Daniel finishes. Or that something happened and the woods swallowed the truth. You press your hands flat against your thighs. Your skin feels too thin, like something inside might tear through. She didn't run, you say. No, Daniel agrees. She didn't. He pushes off the counter and walks toward the exam table. He opens one of the lower drawers and pulls out a small metal box. Rust has eaten into the corners. The latch squeals when he opens it. Inside are photographs. He hands them to you one by one. Your sister, older than you remember, not grown, but growing. Her hair pulled back in a messy tie. Her smile cautious, protective. Lucky beside her in every frame. Different seasons, different years. Your vision blurs. You blink hard, but the images refuse to disappear. She learned how to take care of him, Daniel says. And Dr. Harris helped hide them. Said the world wouldn't understand. Said some miracles needed shelter. Your throat locks. Words pile up behind it, useless. What happened to her? You manage. Daniel doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he points to the last photograph. Your sister sits on the clinic steps, older now, tired. Her hand rests on Lucky's head. Her eyes look straight at the camera. And they look like yours! She left, Daniel says. Years later, when she realized she was aging normally, when she understood what staying would cost him. The room seems to shrink around you, walls pressing inward. She couldn't take him with her, Daniel continues. She believed, she hoped he would wait. That one day, someone from his past would come back. Your chest tightens, not painfully, but insistently, like something expanding where emptiness used to live. And you ask? Daniel's mouth curves into something like a smile. I was the boy she trusted to check on him, then the man who couldn't stop. Lucky lifts his head again. He looks up at you, not pleading, certain. The investigation isn't about facts anymore. It's about whether you're ready to accept the impossible truth sitting at your feet. You don't answer right away. The photographs are still spread across the exam table, their edges overlapping like years that never learned how to separate cleanly. Your fingers hover above them, afraid that touching one more will somehow make the truth heavier. She never came back, you say finally. The words scrape on the way out. Daniel nods, once, a small movement. Careful, she wrote, he says. At first. Lucky shifts at your feet. You feel it, the subtle adjustment of his weight, the way his spine presses more firmly against your shin. Not restless! Grounding. Where? You ask. Daniel turns, opens a cabinet you hadn't noticed before. The hinge protests, a tired metallic whine. From inside, he removes a bundle of envelopes tied together with twine so old it's gone soft and fuzzy. He places them in your hands. The paper smells faintly of dust and something else. Oil, maybe, or time itself. Your sister's handwriting curves across the first envelope. Your name. The room dims at the edges. You sit down again before your legs can betray you, lowering yourself slowly, deliberately. Lucky's head settles against your knee, the familiar weight unlocking something deep in your chest. You untie the string. The first letter is short, careful, written like someone afraid of saying too much too soon. I'm safe. I'm sorry. Please don't look for me. Your vision stutters. You fold the letter, unfold it, and press it flat against your palm like you can absorb the ink through your skin. The second letter is longer. She writes about leaving town, about watching you from a distance once just to make sure you were okay, about Lucky, always Lucky, about how he slept by the door every night, even when she told him it was pointless. He knew you'd come back, Daniel says quietly. Your throat constricts, words dissolving before they reach your tongue. The letters change over time. Her handwriting grows looser, more confident, then tired. She writes about working odd jobs, about hiding her age when people start noticing she's not changing the way they expect. About loneliness that doesn't come from being alone, but from being unseen. The last letter is dated 15 years ago. There are fewer words. I can't stay anymore. If I do, he'll lose the only thing anchoring him to the world. Promise me you'll forgive me. Your hands lower into your lap. The letters slide together, no longer separate messages, but one long, aching confession. She believed he needed something constant, Daniel says. A place, a memory, someone who didn't change. And she was changing, you whisper. Yes. You stare at Lucky. He looks back at you, eyes calm, patient, as if the waiting itself never hurt. Why now, you ask? Why today? Daniel's gaze drops to the dog. Because he started walking toward this place last week. Wouldn't stop. No matter how many times I tried to redirect him. Lucky's tail taps the floor once. I think, Daniel continues, he felt you coming. You let out a sound that isn't quite a laugh. That's ridiculous. Daniel doesn't argue. You stand and walk slowly toward the back of the clinic. The hallway narrows, walls scarred by time and neglect. Lucky follows, step for careful step. Daniel trails behind, giving you space. At the end of the hall is a door you haven't opened since childhood. The storage room. Your hand hovers near the handle. The metal is cold even through the air. Dr. Harris kept more than records, Daniel says behind you. He believed that if the truth ever surfaced, it should do so gently. You turn the handle. The door opens with a low groan, dust lifting into the air like a held breath finally released. Inside, the room is smaller than you remember. Shelves line the walls, stacked with boxes labeled in careful handwriting. On the far wall hangs a mirror, its surface clouded, edges chipped, and beneath it, a bed. Small, neatly made, a quilt folded with deliberate care, your chest locks. You step inside, every movement slowed by a gravity that seems personal. She slept here, you say. Daniel nods. Lucky walks past you and stops beside the bed. He lowers his head, pressing his nose briefly into the blanket before sitting. The gesture is intimate, reverent. On the shelf above the bed sits a glass jar filled with smooth stones. Painted on each one are tiny symbols, stars, paw prints, letters, rituals of passing time. She marked each year, Daniel says, for him, for herself. You reach out and touch the quilt. The fabric is worn thin in places, softened by countless washes. It smells faintly of soap and something familiar enough to hurt. Why didn't she tell me, you ask? Daniel's voice softens. Because she knew you would try to fix it. And some things don't want fixing. They want understanding. The mirror catches your reflection. Older, lined, carrying 30 years of unanswered questions in the slope of your shoulders. Lucky looks up at you through the glass. For the first time, you understand, not the how, the why. Your sister didn't disappear because she was taken. She vanished because she chose to protect something miraculous and because she believed you would one day understand what that choice cost. You sink onto the edge of the bed. The frame creaks under your weight. Lucky stands, turns, and carefully places his head in your lap. You don't reach for him this time. You let the moment come to you. Your fingers sink into his fur, slowly, deliberately, like relearning a language you once spoke fluently. I'm here, you say, not as a promise, as a fact. Lucky exhales, a deep, satisfied sound that vibrates through you, grounding you in the present while stitching together every fractured piece of the past. You stay on the edge of that small bed longer than you expect. The storage room feels like a pocket stitched into time, quiet, dust soft, sealed away from the world that moved on without asking your permission. Your fingers comb through Lucky's fur in slow, absent-minded passes, and each stroke pulls a thread of memory tight, then snaps it loose again. His breathing is steady, yours is not. The quilt under you carries the faint impression of another body that once sat here, another set of shoulders that sagged under secrets. You imagine your sister in this room late at night, listening to the clinic creak and sigh, listening to Lucky's paws shift on the floor, listening to the world outside forget she existed. Did she ever say, where she went, you ask? Your voice is low, not because you're afraid someone will hear, but because the room itself deserves gentleness. Daniel leans against the doorframe. In the dim light, rainwater still clings to his jacket seams, catching in tiny beads that glint when he moves. She moved a lot, he says. Kept her trail thin. But she had one habit she couldn't break. You lift your gaze. She wrote postcards, Daniel continues. Not many, not often. But when she did, she sent them to a P.O. box in the next town. One Dr. Harris kept open. The words stir something inside you. Not hope yet, something closer to a reflex. Your mind reaching toward the possibility like a hand toward a ledge. Do you have them? You ask. Daniel hesitates. Some. You stand. Your knees protest, but you ignore them. The movement pushes air through the room, lifting dust into slow spirals. Lucky rises too, careful with his hips, then presses his shoulder lightly against your thigh, as if to say, I'm still here. You're not falling alone. You follow Daniel back down the hallway. Your footsteps sound wrong, too present, in a place that's been living in the past. In the main room, he opens another drawer and pulls out a slim bundle, postcards wrapped in wax paper. He sets them on the counter. Your hands hover above them, then lower. The paper is smoother than the letters, glossy in places, printed with bright colors that feel almost offensive against the clinic's decay. One shows a lighthouse, another shows snow-covered mountains. A third, Your finger stops, shows a beach at sunset with palm trees like black cutouts against orange fire. On the back, your sister's handwriting again. Smaller, faster, he's still the same. He remembers you more than he remembers me. I dreamt of the creek last night. I woke up tasting iron. Your stomach knots. The creek, that day. Your mind throws up a wall of fog, but something leaks through anyway. Water moving too fast, the smell of wet stone, your sister's hand gripping yours so hard it hurt. Daniel watches your face, reading what you don't say. You still don't remember everything, he says. You swallow. I remember enough. But you don't. Not the center of it. Not the moment where the world cracked open and swallowed your sister's life whole. You turn the next postcard over. If you ever come back, don't go into the basement alone. Your eyes flick up sharply. The basement, you ask? Daniel's jaw tightens. This clinic has one. Dr. Harris used it for storage, old equipment, old files. And? You press. Daniel doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a key ring. There's a single key on it, large, old, darkened with age. He sets it down between you and the postcards. She told me to keep that, he says. Said it wasn't for me, said it was for the day you returned. The metal seems to hum in the silence. You stare at it like it might bite. Lucky's nails click on the floor. He walks to the counter, lifts his head, and sniffs the key once. Then he turns away. Not fear. Refusal. A boundary drawn without words. Your throat goes tight, but the feeling is different than before. Less choking, more bracing. Like your body preparing for impact. What's down there, you ask? Daniel's voice drops. The part of the story, Doctor? Harris didn't want to put on paper. The wind hits the clinic hard enough to rattle the windows. A glass shard shifts in its frame with a brittle chime. Lucky moves closer to you again, but his body stays angled away from the hallway that leads to the back. He doesn't want to go near it. You pick up the key. It's colder than it should be. The kind of cold that feels like it comes from somewhere deeper than air temperature. You close your fist around it and feel the metal edges bite into your palm. There's something you're not telling me, you say. Daniel meets your eyes. He looks tired in a way that suggests years of holding a secret without ever having the right person to hand it to. She didn't just leave to protect him, he says. She left because she was afraid of what would happen if you remembered. Your pulse stutters. Lucky's head lifts. His ears tilt forward. You don't like the way your body recognizes that tone, the way it braces like a child expecting a slammed door. Remembered what? You whisper. Daniel's gaze flicks toward the hallway. Come with me, he says. But don't force him. You look down at Lucky. His eyes are steady. Older, wiser, as if he's watched this moment approach for decades and knows there's no clean way through it. You slide your fingers under his chin, lift his face gently. I won't make you, you murmur. His tongue flicks out once, a brief, warm touch against your knuckle. Then he steps back, not leaving, but not following. You and Daniel walk toward the rear door that leads to the basement stairs. Each step makes the clinic sound alive in protest. Wood groaning, pipes ticking, something shifting in the walls as if it's adjusting its posture to watch. At the basement door, Daniel pauses. The air here is different, cooler, heavier. It smells faintly of damp earth and old paper. He nods at your fist. You should do it, he says. Your fingers loosen around the key. You slide it into the lock. The click is loud, final. You turn it. The door opens a few inches, and the darkness beyond feels like a mouth. Cold air spills out, brushing your face. And from behind you, in the main room, you hear Lucky's collar tag shift softly as he stands. Not to come with you, to watch, to bear witness. You grip the door edge, heart thundering in your ears, and you understand something with sick clarity. Whatever is waiting downstairs isn't just a secret. It's the reason the past has been chasing you your whole life. The basement breathes out first, a damp, chilled exhale that brushes your face and crawls under your collar. It carries the smell of wet concrete, old cardboard, and something metallic that makes your tongue taste like pennies. Daniel doesn't touch you. He doesn't hurry you. He just stands slightly behind and to the side, like he knows what's down there will choose its own pace. You pull the door wider. The hinges cry out, long, strained, like they've been holding this secret shut with their whole body. A narrow staircase descends into darkness. No light switch at the top, of course not. You lift your phone, thumb trembling once before the flashlight clicks on. The beam cuts down the stairwell, catching dust motes drifting like tiny, slow snowflakes. And there, halfway down the wall, is marked with scratches, not random, lines. Sets of 4, then a 5th slashed through them. Tally marks. Your stomach tightens. Not from fear, from recognition you can't explain. You take one step down, then another. Wood groans beneath your foot. The sound echoes, deepening as if the basement is swallowing it. Behind you, Daniel murmurs, slow! You nod without looking back. You keep going. The air grows colder with each step, and the beam of your light becomes the only thing that feels real. The rest is shadow and the shape of your own breath. Halfway down, you pause. The scratches are closer now, carved into plaster with something sharp. The grooves are dark with age, and when you run your fingers near them without touching, you feel your skin prickle as if the wall is still warm from whoever made them. "Who did that?" you ask, voice barely there. Daniel's reply is quiet. "She did." Your heart gives a single hard thud. "She counted days," Daniel adds, "not because she was trapped, because she needed to prove to herself she could leave. That time was still moving for her, even if it wasn't moving the same way for him." You swallow, and the sound seems too loud. You descend the last step. The basement opens into a low room with concrete floors and exposed pipes running like ribs along the ceiling. Shelves line the walls, crowded with boxes and jars and equipment wrapped in sheets that hang like pale ghosts. The flashlight beam wobbles slightly as your hand betrays steadiness. In the center of the room, there's a table, metal, stained, and on it, a ledger, thick, black cover. The kind Dr. Harris used to keep, the kind that made every fact feel official. Daniel points. That's his. You move closer. Each step makes your shoes scuff softly against concrete. The air is cooler here, but your skin is hot under your clothes, a slow fever of anticipation. You open the ledger. The first page is dated the year your sister disappeared. Dr. Harris's handwriting is steady, clinical. Subject, Labrador Retriever, lucky. Observation, no measurable aging compared to baseline. Note, animal exhibits heightened orientation towards specific individuals, particularly two sisters. You flip the page, and the next, entries, years, notes. Then the handwriting shifts. Not Dr. Harris, your sister. The ink is darker, the letters pressed hard like she was trying to anchor herself through the pen. He doesn't sleep unless he's touching the door. He won't eat unless I say her name. I tried not to say it today. He stared at me until my hands hurt from shaking. You inhale too sharply and it burns. You turn another page. I went to the creek. I thought if I stood where it happened, I'd remember everything and it would stop hurting. I remembered something else instead. Your fingers freeze on the paper. Daniel steps closer, not beside you, just near enough that you can hear his breathing. Keep going, he says. You do. The entries grow stranger, not supernatural worse, human. She writes about Dr. Harris being afraid, not of Lucky, of what Lucky means. Dr. Harris says the clinic isn't safe anymore. He says people ask questions when miracles linger too long. He says the wrong kind of people always find out. Your throat tightens again, but it isn't choking this time. It's a tightening that feels like anger trying to take shape. What people? You whisper. Daniel doesn't answer. You flip to the next page. There's an envelope taped there. Your fingers peel it free carefully, like removing a bandage from old skin. Inside is a photograph, not worn, not faded, preserved in plastic. It shows the creek, two girls at the water's edge, and Lucky. But the detail that makes your blood go cold is what's in the background. A man, half hidden behind a tree, watching. His face is blurred by the angle, but his posture is clear still, intent, predatory patience. You stare until your eyes ache. Daniel's voice is nearly a whisper. That's the part she didn't want you to remember. Your mouth opens, but no sound comes. You flip the photo over. On the back, your sister has written, "He was there before we were. The basement seems to contract around you." The ceiling feels lower, the air heavier. You force yourself to keep reading. You turn to the next section of the ledger. Dr. Harris's writing returns, but the steadiness is gone. The pen pressure varies, lines darker in places like his hand shook. Incident report. Date, same as disappearance. 2 minors present. Labrador present. Unidentified adult male observed near creek prior to event. Your skin breaks into goose flesh. You keep flipping. The description is spare, clinical, exactly how someone writes when they're trying not to feel what they're recording. 1 minor, older sister taken from sight temporarily. Labrador pursued. Younger sister located later in shock. No physical injury. Older sister returned hours later. Refused to speak. Labrador returned unchanged. Your vision blurs at the edges. Taken, returned, refused to speak. You can't breathe properly. Your lungs pull in air like they're dragging it through mud. Why didn't anyone tell me, you rasp? Daniel's voice softens. Because you were the younger one. Because you didn't remember the man. You only remember the loss. You shake your head, a small, frantic motion. No, I remember. I remember water. I remember. You stop, because something does surface, not a full memory. A shard, a hand covering your mouth, a smell cheap aftershave and damp leaves. Lucky barking, frantic, a sound like a siren. Your sister's voice too close to your ear. Don't look, don't look, don't look. You press your palm to your lips as if you can push the memory back down. Your flashlight beam swings wildly, cutting across shelves, catching on something on the far wall. A metal cage, old, rusted. The door hangs open. Inside the cage is a bowl. and beside it something that makes your knees unlock. A child's shoe, small, pink, mud-stained. Your sister's shoe. Your stomach lurches. The floor seems to sway. Your hand grips the table edge hard enough to sting. Daniel's voice is tight. Dr. Harris kept it because your sister begged him to. She said if you ever came back, you'd need proof you weren't crazy. Your throat burns. You stumble toward the cage, flashlight shaking. The shoe is real, solid, time-warped, but undeniable. You pick it up, and the leather is stiff, the lace is brittle, and with the touch, the shard becomes a blade. You see it? Not clearly, not like a movie, but enough. The man stepping out from behind the tree, your sister's arms snapping out to shove you back. Lucky lunging, teeth flashing. A struggle. Mud, water, your own scream swallowed as a hand clamps over your mouth. Then darkness, not unconsciousness covered, like someone pulled a thick cloth over your mind. You stagger back, clutching the shoe to your chest. I didn't forget, you whisper. You look at Daniel, eyes wet, jaw trembling with rage you've carried unknowingly for 3 decades. They made me forget. Daniel doesn't deny it. He just nods once, slow, grim. Dr. Harris thought he was protecting you, he says. He thought if the memory stayed buried, you'd have a life, a normal one. You laugh, sharp and broken. Normal? Your voice cracks on the word. A pipe above you drips steadily, each drop hitting concrete with a slow, awful rhythm. You look back at the ledger. There's one more envelope taped near the end. Your fingers peel it free with shaking care. Inside is a single page. Your sister's handwriting, larger, messier, like she wrote it in a rush. If she comes back, don't let her go alone. He's still out there, and Lucky knows. Your stomach drops. You turn toward the stairs, toward the main room, toward the doorway where you left Lucky. But you can't hear his nails on the floor anymore. You can't hear his breathing. You can't hear anything from upstairs at all. Just the basement drip, drip, drip. Daniel's face changes when he notices your expression. What is it? He asks. You don't answer. You run. Up the stairs, one hand scraping the wall, the other clutching the page like it's the only thing keeping you from dissolving. The flashlight beam jerks wildly. Your breath is loud, ragged, too fast for your body to keep up. You reach the top step and shove the door open. And the clinic is empty. No warm body at your feet. No gray-muzzled face watching you. No soft huff of breath. Only the photograph still lying near the entrance, half-soaked, the ink bleeding until the dog's shape is almost gone. You spin in a slow circle, panic rising like floodwater. Lucky! You call, voice breaking. Nothing! The silence answers with cruelty. Daniel appears behind you, eyes scanning. He was here, he says, as if saying it might summon him back. Your chest locks. Your hands shake now, openly, uncontrollably. You rush outside. Rain smacks your face. The parking lot is empty. No paw prints in the mud near the doorway. Only tire tracks. Fresh, cutting through the wet gravel like a knife line. A car has been here. Recently. The rain feels different now. Before, it was just weather-cold drops. A damp inconvenience. A gray veil over an old place. Now it hits your face like warning. Like the sky itself is trying to slap sense into you. You stand in the parking lot, mouth open, lungs pulling in air that won't settle. Your eyes sweep the gravel again and again, hunting for anything that proves you didn't imagine those tracks. But the tire marks are there. 2 dark grooves cut through wet stone, curving away from the clinic like a decision already made. Daniel jogs up behind you, boots splashing through shallow puddles. He can't have gone far, he says, voice too tight to be convincing. Lucky is old. He moves carefully. He doesn't vanish like smoke. So if he's gone, it's because someone carried him or coaxed him with a purpose sharp enough to slice through 3 decades. You look down again. Near the edge of the gravel, half sunk into mud, something small catches the thin light. A smear of brass. You crouch fast, ignoring the protest in your knees. A tag! Not Lucky's name tag, the one you saw on his collar, but another, smaller tag, bent and scratched like it was ripped free. You wipe it with your thumb, a phone number, and beneath it 3 stamped letters that make your stomach drop. HHC. Daniel's breath catches behind you. Not a dramatic gasp, but a short, involuntary pull of air like his body recognized danger before his mind admitted it. You know that, you say. Daniel doesn't answer for a beat. Rain threads down his face. His eyes look older than his years. Dr. Harris used to say those letters like a curse, he admits. Harris Health Consortium, that's what he called them. A vet group, you ask, already knowing the answer isn't that simple. Daniel's jaw flexes. Officially, yes. A research network. They funded clinics, offered grants, asked for data. And unofficially? Your voice comes out rough. Daniel's gaze shifts toward the tree line beyond the clinic. The woods that start just a few yards away, dark and dense, swallowing light like it's hungry. Unofficially, they were interested in animals that didn't behave like animals, he says. Animals that broke rules. Your grip tightens around the bent tag until its edges bite into your skin. You're saying they came for him, you whisper. Daniel nods once, grim. If they found out he was here again, if someone saw him, if anyone talked, your mind flashes to the moment you walked in, rain-soaked, dragging a 30-year-old grief behind you like a trailing veil. You were not careful. You were not quiet. You were a flare in the dark. A memory doesn't surface gently. It comes like a sting. A man behind a tree, watching, waiting. He's still out there, you murmur, hearing your sister's words from the page in your hand. Daniel's eyes narrow. We have to move. Where? You snap. Anger surges hard enough to steady you. They already have him. Daniel points toward the side of the clinic. The service road back there. It leads to the old highway. But there's another way through the woods, an access trail Dr. Harris used. If they took the car route, we might still catch them. You look toward the woods. The trees stand packed and dripping, their branches shivering under rain. The path is barely visible, a darker slit in the undergrowth. Your body doesn't want to go in there. Your body remembers. Still, your feet start moving before your fear can vote. You and Daniel cut around the clinic, shoes sinking into mud. Water slides off leaves in cold streams, soaking your sleeves. The air smells of pine, wet soil, and something sour that feels too close to the metallic basement air. Daniel pushes branches aside. You follow, ducking under low limbs, and then you hear it. Not a bark, a sound lower, strained, a dog's whine, muffled, distant like it's coming from inside something closed. Your spine locks, you pick up speed. The trail slopes downward toward the creek. Of course it does. The woods tighten around you, trees leaning in, shadows thickening even in daylight. Rainwater trickles down your neck. Your breath turns loud in your ears. The creek appears suddenly through the brush, a ribbon of fast-moving brown water swollen by rain. The sound of it fills everything, rushing, relentless, drowning thought. You stop at the edge. Your chest squeezes. Here! This is where the world broke. Daniel's hand lifts as if to steady you, then drops again, unsure if touch would help or shatter. On the far bank, half hidden behind a fallen log, there's a vehicle, a van, white, no markings. Its tires are caked with mud, and the rear doors are shut. From inside, the whine comes again, thin, exhausted, unmistakable. Lucky. Your vision tunnels. You start forward. Daniel grabs your arm. Wait! You whip your head toward him, fury flashing. No! He leans close, voice harsh but low. If you run in blind, you lose him, and you might not get out. Your teeth clench. Your whole body vibrates with the urge to bolt, to tear the doors open with your bare hands, to claw him back from whoever took him. But Daniel's grip is firm. And part of you, some cold, older part, knows he's right. You crouch, forcing yourself down behind the brush. Rain ticks softly on leaves above you. The creek roars. You watch the van. A man steps out from the driver's side. He's tall, hood up. He moves with calm efficiency, like someone doing routine work. He crosses to the back, checks the lock, then pauses, head tilting slightly as if listening. Your stomach twists. Because he isn't listening to the dog. He's listening to the woods. To you. Daniel's grip tightens on your arm as if he felt it too. The man turns slowly, scanning the trees. You hold your breath. He lifts his hand, touches something at his ear. An earpiece, maybe, and speaks into it. You can't hear the words over the creek, but you see the shape of them in his mouth, clipped, controlled. He looks toward the clinic's direction, then toward the trail behind you, like he knows every route you could take. Your mouth goes dry. The man walks back to the van, opens the passenger door, and pulls out something long and dark. Not a gun. At least not shaped like one. A pole. A catch. A control tool. Your skin crawls. He shuts the door and returns to the back, unlocking it. He opens the rear doors just enough to slip inside. The whine spikes once high, pained. Then it cuts off. Silence. A silence so sudden it feels like a punch. You jerk forward, but Daniel clamps down harder. Listen to me, he hisses. We need a distraction. Something that forces him to open those doors and step out. You stare at the van, heart hammering. A distraction. Your eyes dart around. Near the creek, on the ground, lies an old metal bucket half buried in mud, probably from the clinic's old waste runs. Rusted, thin. You scoop it up, wincing at the cold bite of metal against your palms. Daniel catches your intent immediately. He shakes his head once, warning. You ignore him. You can't afford caution anymore. You move low through the brush, circling, putting distance between you and Daniel. Mud sucks at your shoes. Rain drips into your eyes. You blink it away, focus sharpening into a single brutal point. When you're far enough, you hurl the bucket into the creek. It hits water with a loud metallic crash. The sound echoes off the trees. Instantly, movement. The rear doors jerk open wider, and the hooded man steps out, scanning toward the creek, posture tense now. You see inside the van for a fraction of a second, a crate, metal bars, and Lucky's golden head, lowered, eyes dull with exhaustion. Even like this, even trapped, he turns his face slightly toward the woods. Toward you! Recognition lands like a blade behind your ribs. The hooded man slams the door shut again, cursing. Though you can't hear it, you can see the anger in the hard snap of his shoulders. He starts moving toward the creek, boots splashing, hunting the source of the noise. Daniel uses the moment. He bursts from cover on the opposite side, sprinting for the van. Now! He shouts, voice ragged with urgency. Your body moves before thought. You run. Rain, mud, branches, everything blurs. The creek's roar becomes a wall of sound. Daniel reaches the van first, yanking at the rear latch. It sticks. He throws his shoulder into it. You arrive a heartbeat later, hand slamming onto the cold metal, fingers scrabbling for purchase. The latch gives. The doors fly open, and Lucky is there, crammed into the crate, body trembling with strain, muzzle flecked with gray and rain. His eyes lock on yours, not fear, relief so pure it hurts. You fumble with the crate lock, fingers clumsy with panic. Daniel helps, his hands steadier. The lock pops. Lucky tries to stand, but his legs wobble. Age and stress have stolen some strength. You reach in, wrapping your arms around him, lifting him carefully like he's something sacred. He presses his head against your chest, a heavy, trusting weight. A sound escapes you, half laugh, half sob, but you don't have time to name it. Because behind you, the hooded man shouts, You spin! He's running back! Fast now! No longer calm! His hood slips back just enough that you see the lower half of his face. And something in your memory snarls awake. That jawline, that mouth, the shape of a smile you never saw clearly 30 years ago because your sister forced your head down, because she covered your eyes, because she took the terror into herself so you wouldn't have to. The man reaches into his jacket. Daniel grabs your arm. Go! You clutch Lucky tighter, feeling his ribs under your arms, feeling his heart hammering against yours. You run again, back into the woods, Daniel beside you. Branches whip your face. Mud drags at your feet. Lucky's weight is heavy but necessary, like carrying your own past out of a burning house. Behind you, the man's footsteps pound closer. You don't run the way you used to. Your body is older now, stitched with aches and careful habits, but fear has its own strength, cruel, borrowed strength that doesn't ask permission. You crash through wet brush with Lucky in your arms, his weight dragging at your shoulders, his breath hot against your collarbone. Daniel is ahead for 3 steps, then beside you, then behind you again as the woods tighten and the trail narrows into something barely human-made. You can't carry him forever, Daniel snaps, voice shredded by effort. I'm not leaving him! You shoot back. Lucky doesn't struggle. He doesn't thrash or panic. He clings. Not with claws, he's too old for that, but with the full surrender of a creature that trusts you more than the world. Behind you, the man keeps coming. Footsteps. Heavy, certain, and then a sharp crack. Not thunder, too clean. A branch splinters near your head, showering you with wet bark. You duck instinctively, heart slamming against your ribs hard enough to bruise from the inside. He has a weapon, Daniel shouts. Not a gun, you realize with sick clarity. A tranquilizer launcher, something designed not to kill, but to take, to claim. You stumble, nearly go down, but Lucky shifts in your arms at the last second, redistributing weight like he's trying to help you stay upright. A flash of anger surges so hot it steadies you. No, not again. The path drops, and the sound of water rises, louder, closer. The creek, the same creek. It feels like the woods are hurting you back to the wound. Daniel grabs your sleeve and yanks you left, off trail. Here, he gasps. This way, Harris's route. You follow without thinking. Your shoes slide on slick roots. Your lungs burn. Rain blurs your vision into streaks. Then the trees open, and you see it. A structure half swallowed by vines and moss, tucked into a dip in the land as if the earth is trying to hide it. A small shed, no bigger than a shed. A maintenance outbuilding, maybe, from when the clinic still operated at full scale. Corrugated metal walls, a door reinforced with a heavy latch. Daniel slams into it, shoulder first. The latch clanks. Locked! He fumbles in his pocket, yanks out a ring of keys, tries one, then another. His hands shake, but his focus doesn't break. Your arms tremble under Lucky's weight. You lower him gently to the ground. He wobbles, paws, splaying for balance, and you feel a bolt of terror. But he holds. He turns his head toward the woods, toward the pursuit. A low sound vibrates in his chest, not a bark, a warning. Daniel finds the right key and wrenches the door open. Inside now! You guide Lucky in, one hand under his belly to steady him. Daniel follows, slamming the door shut behind you and throwing the latch. The inside is dark and cold, smelling of oil and old hay. Your phone light flicks across shelves stacked with rusted tools, cracked buckets, and torn tarps. You press your ear to the metal wall. Outside, footsteps slow, then stop. Silence. A silence that isn't peace. It's a hunter pausing to listen for prey, breathing wrong. Lucky stands beside you, sides heaving. His eyes are fixed on the door as if he can see through it. Daniel whispers, "We wait." You almost laugh. "Wait! You've been waiting for 30 years, and waiting didn't save anyone." A faint scrape sounds outside. Metal against metal. The latch. Someone testing it. Daniel's face tightens. He searches the room with frantic eyes, then points to the back. "There's another exit," he whispers. "A hatch. It leads to a drainage tunnel." "A tunnel?" You echo. Daniel nods. Dr. Harris used it when he didn't want anyone to see him moving things. Moving Lucky, you think. Moving her. Lucky suddenly moves away from the door, limping toward the rear of the room with a strange urgency. He nudges a hanging tarp with his muzzle. Then he looks back at you. The look isn't pleading. It's directive. Your pulse jumps. You cross the room, yanking the tarp aside. A section of the wall is different. Newer boards, reinforced, as if someone built an extra layer to hide what was behind it. Daniel's breath catches. "I didn't know this was here." Lucky noses the bottom board again. You drop to your knees and grip the edge. The wood is swollen with damp, but it gives with effort. Your fingers slip, nails catching splinters. You tear it free. Behind it is a narrow cavity. And inside, a tin box, sealed with wax. Your stomach flips. You know without knowing how that you're about to touch the exact center of the story. You lift the box out. It's heavier than it looks. Daniel crouches beside you. "What is that?" Lucky sits, watching with an intensity that feels almost human. You pry at the wax seal. It cracks with a brittle snap that echoes too loudly in the small space. You open the lid. Inside are three things: a cassette tape in a plastic case, labeled in Dr. Harris's handwriting. "For her. Do not destroy." A second photograph, newer, sharper, of the creek. The same tree line, the same angle, the same shadowed man. A medical record sheet unlike the others. It is in a standard veterinary form. It has stamped headers and codes and a signature line. The header reads, "Harris Health Consortium Special Observation Unit." Daniel's face drains of color. "Oh my God." A bang hits the shed door. Metal buckles slightly inward. You flinch, clutching the tin box to your chest. Lucky growls again, deeper this time, the sound vibrating through the floorboards like a warning siren. Daniel grabs the cassette tape and turns it over in his hands. "If there's a player." Another bang, harder. The latch holds, but you hear the screw strain. You scan the shelves wildly. Tools, chains, a broken radio, a dusty old tape player half buried under a tarp. Your hands shake as you grab it, wipe grime off the buttons with your sleeve. You pop the cassette in. The tape clicks into place. You hit play. For a second, there's only hiss, static, the sound of time itself. Then, Dr. Harris's voice, older than you remember, but unmistakable. Calm, controlled, the voice of a man who learned to sound steady even when the world wasn't. "If you're hearing this," the tape says, "it means she came back." Your heart seems to stop, then restart wrong. "If you're hearing this, it also means they found him again." Which means I failed. A wet, metallic screech outside the latch being worked at with something sharp. Dr. Harris continues, voice tightening. "The dog is not the miracle. The dog is the evidence." You swallow hard. Your mouth tastes like copper. "They didn't create him," Harris says. "They found him. And they wanted to understand why he doesn't age, why he remembers, why he anchors." Another bang. The door shutters. Lucky shifts closer to you, pressing his shoulder against your leg. His fur is damp and warm. "Alive. Here." "They took the older girl," Harris says. "Not to hurt her. Not at first. They took her because she saw them, because she fought back, because she wouldn't stop screaming your name." Your vision blurs instantly. "She didn't disappear," Harris continues. "She was returned on purpose, to frighten her into silence, to make her carry the warning herself." Your fingers clamp around the tape player so hard your knuckles whiten. "And you," Harris says softly, "were spared because your sister made a deal. A sound leaves you, small, broken." "A deal?" Daniel whispers. Harris's voice grows rougher, like the words scrape his throat on the way out. "She agreed to vanish, to let the world believe she was gone. In exchange, they would leave you untouched." The shed door rattles violently. "You don't breathe," Harris continues. "She also demanded something else." A pause, long enough that the silence feels like a blade's edge. "She demanded they never take the dog." Your eyes dart to Lucky. He looks back at you, and in his gaze is something that feels like a promise that never expired. Harris's voice drops, thick with shame. "They lied." The latch outside finally gives a sharp metallic pop. The door opens a fraction. Cold rain air knifes in. Daniel lunges to the back, ripping up a loose panel in the floor you didn't notice before. A hatch, dark space beneath it. "The tunnel!" he gasps. "But you can't move yet, because the tape is still speaking. Listen carefully," Harris says. "Your sister is alive." The words hit you like a physical blow. Your mind rejects them. Instinctive, immediate. "Alive? After 30 years?" But Harris's voice doesn't sound like hope. It sounds like certainty. "She has been hiding," he says. "Because if they find her, they will use her to control you, to control the dog, to control whatever this is." The shed door slams inward again. A hand appears in the gap gloved, firm, forcing it wider. Daniel grabs your arm. "Now!" You wrench your body up, almost dropping the tin box. Lucky struggles to stand, legs trembling. You scoop the tape player and the tin box, then hook your arm under Lucky's chest to help lift him. He stumbles toward the hatch. The door bursts open. A hooded man fills the doorway, rain streaming off him. In his hand is the long, dark launcher. His gaze snaps to Lucky, and the moment he sees the dog, his mouth curves, not into a smile, but into possession. "There you are," he says. His voice is wrong. Too familiar, too smooth. Your skin crawls. Behind him, through the rain, you see another figure approaching. Taller, slower, carrying a case like a professional. They aren't just here to snatch and run. They came prepared. Daniel shoves you toward the hatch. "Go!" You drop down first, feet finding slippery concrete. The tunnel is narrow and smells like damp earth. Water drips from above. Lucky hesitates at the edge-old body, uncertain footing. You reach up, both arms extended. "Come on," you whisper, voice raw. "I've got you." He looks down at you. Then he commits. Front paws lowering, weight shifting, trusting you completely. You grab him, guide him down, every muscle screaming as you take his weight. He lands awkwardly but stays upright. Above you, Daniel slams the hatch shut. You hear him shove something heavy over it. Then, a sound like impact, a grunt, a struggle. Your heart detonates in your chest. You clutch the tin box and press your cheek to Lucky's head, feeling his wet fur, his steady breath. The tape player in your hand hisses with static. Then Dr. Harris's voice returns, faint but urgent. "If they've taken him again, there is one place they can't follow without exposing themselves. You swallow hard." The tunnel stretches forward in the darkness. You don't know where it goes, but your sister might be alive. And Lucky, impossible, loyal Lucky is trembling beside you, waiting for your next step like he always has. Behind you, above the hatch, the sounds of struggle grow louder, and you realize the truth of this moment. The discovery isn't just a secret, it's a doorway. The tunnel swallows your phone light into damp air and dripping stone. Your footsteps splash through shallow water that coats the floor in a thin, cold film. The ceiling is low enough that you hunch, shoulders scraping rough concrete in places. Lucky moves beside you in careful, limping steps, his nails clicking softly, slipping now and then. Each time he wavers, your hand finds his collar before he can fall. Behind you, above the hatch, the struggle becomes a muffled storm. Thuds, a strained breath, a sharp curse. Then a sound like something heavy hitting wood. Then silence. Not peace. Just the kind of silence that follows when someone stops fighting. "Daniel!" you whisper, pressing your ear to the air as if the tunnel can carry his name back up. Lucky's ears tilt, listening too, but he doesn't look behind you. He looks forward, like he knows where this goes. You force yourself onward, thighs burning, lungs working too hard for the tight space. Water drips steadily from a pipe overhead, tapping your shoulder like a metronome. The smell here is earth and rust and something faintly chemical, like old disinfectant soaked into stone. The tape player is still in your hand. You thumb the play button again, desperate for direction, for anything that feels like a handrail in the dark. Static hisses. Then Dr. Harris's voice returns, softer now, as if recorded late at night when guilt wouldn't let him sleep. "The place I'm speaking of is not on any official record," he says. "It used to be part of the county's emergency network, old storm access, old utility corridors. It connects to the river culvert beyond the north embankment." Your heart stutters. The river, not the creek, bigger, deeper. The one the town always warned children about. Harris continues, words clipped with urgency. "If you reach the river outlet, you'll see a red painted marker on the concrete." Behind it, a maintenance door. The key is. The tape warps suddenly, the sound stretching, then snapping. You smack the side of the player once, frustrated. Lucky bumps your leg, gentle, steady-like. He's reminding you the tape is not your only guide. He stops, his nose lifts. He inhales, slow, deliberate, then turns left into a narrower side passage you almost miss. It's darker there, tighter, the air colder, but he doesn't hesitate. You follow him because your body trusts his certainty more than your mind trusts anything. The tunnel bends, then slopes downward. The sound of water grows louder, deeper, a constant roar that vibrates through the walls. The air thickens with moisture. Your hair clings to your forehead. Your clothes feel heavier, saturated with rain and tunnel damp. Then you see it, a faint smear of red on concrete ahead, not bright paint, old, flaking, half erased by time, a marker. Your pulse spikes. Lucky whines once, low, not afraid, impatient. You reach the end and find a metal door set into the wall, half hidden behind hanging roots that slit through cracks over years. There's no handle, just a recessed pull and a keyhole. Your fist tightens around the old key. You slide it into the lock. It fits like it's been waiting for your hand. The turn is stiff. Rust protests. Then click. The door swings open with a sigh of trapped air, and you step into a space that doesn't feel like a tunnel anymore. It feels like a room someone made. The ceiling is higher. The air is warmer. A single lantern hangs from a hook, its flame steady, recently lit. Someone has been here, recently. Lucky moves past you immediately, limping faster now, urgency pulling him forward. The room opens into another corridor, wider, cleaner, lined with shelving that holds supplies, water jugs, canned food, folded blankets, batteries, first aid kits, a hiding place, a prepared one. Your throat closes around a sound. Hello? You call, voice echoing. No answer. You move deeper. Your phone light sweeps across the walls and catches something that makes you stop. Photographs, pinned in rows, not old clinic photos, modern ones, printed, recent. You step closer, breath thinning. The first is you, younger, standing outside your house years ago, unaware. The angle is distant, taken from across the street. The next is you again, older, leaving a grocery store. Then another, your hands on a steering wheel. Then a photograph of you arriving at the clinic today, rain-soaked, head bowed, entering like you were walking into a grave. Your stomach drops. Someone has been tracking you. Lucky presses forward, leading you through the corridor into a small living space carved into concrete. A cot, a table, shelves of books, a kettle, a stack of letters in a neat pile. And on the table, a fresh photograph. It isn't of you, it's of Lucky. Taken from behind, showing his aged frame, the silvered muzzle, the familiar collar. The photo was taken recently, from close, from someone who could reach out and touch him. Your hands shake as you lift it. A shadow falls across the table. You freeze. The lantern flame flickers slightly. Then a voice speaks from behind you, soft, careful, like it doesn't want to startle something fragile. You came! You turn! At first, you don't recognize her. 30 years as a thief. It steals faces, replaces them with time's version. But then she steps into the lantern light, and your brain makes the connection in a single brutal snap. The eyes. Your eyes. Your sister stands there, older now, gray threaded through her hair, skin lined by years of watching and hiding. She's thinner than you remember, but she's upright, alive, real, breathing. Her hands are empty, held slightly open at her sides, palms visible. The universal signal, I'm not here to hurt you. You make a sound that doesn't belong to adulthood. A broken, stunned inhale. She takes one step forward. Lucky makes a small sound, half whine, half sigh, and moves toward her with the slow certainty of a prayer finally answered. He presses his head against her hip, and your sister's hand trembles as it lowers to touch him. Not like she's petting a dog, like she's touching proof. Her eyes lift to you, and the expression there isn't joy. It's grief that's been stored so long, it's become part of her bones. I'm sorry, she says. 2 words, not enough for 30 years. But her voice cracks on them, and you know she's been carrying them the whole time. You step forward without meaning to. Your feet move like they're no longer yours. When you reach her, you stop. Too close, too far, trapped in the distance that time builds. Your hands hover in the air, unsure where to land. You want to touch her face. You're afraid she'll vanish if you do. Why? You whisper. Why didn't you? I tried, she says quickly, the words tumbling out like a dam finally giving. I tried to come back. I did, so many times, but every time I got close, they were there, watching, waiting. She gestures toward the photographs on the wall. I watched you so I'd know you were safe. I told myself if you looked happy, if you looked normal, I could keep staying gone. Your chest aches like something is tearing. You let me think you were dead, you say, and the bitterness in your voice surprises you. Your sister flinches as if struck. Her eyes shine, but the tears don't fall yet. She keeps them in, disciplined, practiced. I didn't want you to become me, she whispers. I didn't want you to spend your life running from shadows. A harsh laugh slips out of you. Shadows found me anyway. Her gaze drops to the tin box in your hand. To the tape player, to the bent HHC tag. She understands instantly. They took him, she says, voice sharpening. They tried, you correct. Lucky stays pressed against her leg, breathing hard but steady, his eyes moving between you and her like he's stitching the 2 halves of his world together. Your sister kneels, careful with her joints, and cups Lucky's face in both hands. Her thumbs brush the graying fur along his muzzle. "They always wanted him," she says, voice low. "Not because he's special as a dog, because he's a key." "A key to what?" you ask. She swallows. "To proof, to control, to whatever they think they can bottle and sell and own." The lantern pops softly. The flame steadies again. Your sister rises and walks to a shelf, pulling out a folder. She sets it on the table with a heavy, deliberate motion. "Dr. Harris kept records," she says, "but I kept the names." She opens the folder. Inside are printed emails, scanned documents, maps, a list of initials that expand into full names, administrators, researchers, fund managers, contractors, and photos. Men in jackets, men near the creek, men near the clinic, years apart. One of them is the hooded man. Clearer now, his face fully visible in the print. Your memory snarls again, that half-seen mouth forming words you weren't allowed to hear. Your sister taps the photo. "His name is Mark Ellison," she says. "He's the one who took me that day. Not to kill me, to scare me into being useful." Your stomach turns. "You knew who he was," you whisper. "I had to," she says. "If I didn't learn, you would die from not knowing." A sound above you. Faint. Metal on concrete. Somewhere far back in the tunnel, a scrape. Your sister's head snaps up, eyes sharp as a blade. "They followed," she says. "Your blood runs cold." "How?" You breathe. She looks at Lucky, then at you. "Because you were loud today," she says gently, not accusing, just factual. And because Lucky, he pulls them like gravity. When he surfaces, they notice. Another scrape. Closer. Your sister moves fast now, crossing to a cabinet and pulling out something wrapped in cloth. She unwraps it. "It's not a weapon in the way you expect. It's a radio. Old but functional." She twists a knob. Static spills into the room, then a low tone. She speaks into it, voice calm but urgent. "Red marker breach," she says. "They're in the culvert." A pause. Then a voice answers. Female, crisp, controlled. "Copy. Moving." Your eyes widen. "There are others?" you ask. Your sister nods once. "Not many. People Dr. Harris trusted. People who lost someone like we did. People who refused to let them keep taking." The scrape becomes a thud, a boot hitting the metal door you came through, someone testing. Your sister's gaze hardens. "This ends tonight," she says. You feel the words in your bones, not as revenge, as closure. Lucky, as if sensing the shift, stands straighter. He limps forward, positioning himself between the door and you both. His body shakes, not with fear, but with the strain of being old and still refusing to yield. You step to his side, hand on his collar. Your sister stands on the other side, one hand on his back, and for the first time in 30 years, you are not separated by distance. You are a line, a single, unbroken front. The metal door shutters again. A voice filters through, muffled but recognizable. The hooded man. "I know you're in there," he calls. "You can't hide forever." Your sister's eyes narrow. She leans close to you, voice barely above a whisper. "Whatever happens," she says, "don't let him take Lucky again." You nod, jaw clenched. The lantern flame flickers. The door handle starts to turn. And Lucky, impossibly steady, lets out one single bark. Not loud, not frantic, a signal, a declaration. "I'm here." The handle turns like a slow promise. Metal scrapes metal. The latch shifts. The door inches inward and rain-scented air pushes into the hidden room, sharp, cold, carrying the smell of the culvert and the world outside. Lucky stands in front of you, legs braced, body trembling with the effort of staying upright. His ears are forward. His eyes are fixed on the widening gap as if he's staring down something he's known longer than any of you. Your sister's hand stays on his back. Yours stays on his collar. 3 heartbeats stacked together. The door opens enough for a shoulder. A gloved hand appears first, pushing. Then the hooded man's face slides into the lantern light. Mark Ellison. The years haven't improved him. They've simply sharpened what was already there. Control, entitlement, a calm that only exists when someone believes they have the right to take. His eyes lock on Lucky immediately. Then they flick to your sister. Something ugly tightens around his mouth. "Well," he says, voice smooth as oil, "look what the dog dragged in. Your sister doesn't flinch this time." She steps forward half a pace, keeping Lucky behind her without breaking contact. "Mark," she says, not fearful, not pleading, just a name spoken like a verdict. Mark's gaze shifts to you then, and for a moment you feel 13 again, small, swallowed, muffled behind a hand that smelled like cheap aftershave and wet leaves. "You're her," he says, almost amused. The one who didn't remember. Your fingers tighten on Lucky's collar until you feel the leather bite your skin. "I remember enough," you say. Mark chuckles softly, like you've told him something entertaining. Behind him, another figure appears in the doorway carrying a hard case, moving with clinical efficiency. The kind of posture that belongs in laboratories and boardrooms, not in places where girls disappear. Mark gestures lazily toward Lucky. "Hand him over," he says. "No one has to get hurt." Lucky growls, low and vibrating, but his legs wobble. Age shakes him, not fear. Your sister's voice hardens. You already hurt enough people. Mark's eyes narrow. You made a deal. Your sister's jaw clenches. And you broke it. He tilts his head. Deals change. The words hit you like a cold splash, because suddenly you understand how he's lived this long without guilt. He doesn't see promises as binding. He sees them as tools, useful until they aren't. You step forward, placing yourself beside your sister. Your shoulder almost touches hers. Mark's gaze drifts over the folder on the table, the photographs pinned to the wall, the radio in your sister's hand. For the first time, a crack appears in his calm. What is this? He snaps. Your sister lifts her chin. Evidence. Mark laughs once, sharp. To who? The answer comes from the radio. A burst of static, then the same female voice from earlier, closer now, amplified through the small room. Mark Ellison, step away from the door and place your hands where I can see them. Mark's eyes flick toward the tunnel behind him. His jaw tightens. You called someone, he says, disbelief creeping into his tone like rot. Your sister's grip on the radio is steady. You weren't the only one who learned to watch. Footsteps echo faintly from the culvert side. Multiple, controlled, not rushed. Mark's companion shifts, hand tightening around the hard case like it might contain solutions. Mark's gaze darts to you again, calculating. I can still walk out with what I came for, he says quietly, voice losing its smoothness. Or I can leave you with consequences you won't survive. Your sister takes a slow breath. You see it in her shoulders, in the deliberate way she keeps herself from shaking. 30 years of fear wants to live in her body. She refuses to give it space. No, she says, you're leaving empty. Mark's eyes flash. He makes a quick motion with his hand. 2 fingers, subtle. His companion reacts immediately, flipping open the hard case. Inside, a tranquilizer dart gun. Your blood freezes. The companion raises it toward Lucky. Everything happens at once. You move, not fast like youth, fast like a mother grabbing a child from traffic, fast like instinct overriding age. You yank Lucky back toward your legs and throw your body between him and the barrel. Your sister lunges too, swiping a metal lantern off its hook and hurling it. The lantern smashes against the wall beside the man, glass exploding, flame flaring bright for a split second before sputtering into smoke. The sudden light blinds him just long enough. The dart fires! A soft thunk. Pain flares in your upper arm, hot and immediate. You gasp, stumble. The world tilts, edges thickening, sound stretching as if the air turns to syrup. Your sister catches you, one arm around your back, fierce. No, she growls at the man, at the moment, at the universe that keeps trying to steal things. Lucky barks, once, twice, sharp now, urgent, and the sound echoes down the tunnel like an alarm. Then the other voice, real, present, not just radio booms from the culvert entrance. Drop it! Now! Flashlights pierce the doorway behind Mark, turning him into a silhouette. Multiple beams, multiple people. Mark whirls, caught between escape and control. Your sister's hand grips your face, forcing your eyes to stay on hers as the drug starts pulling you under. Stay with me, she says, voice trembling with command. Do not leave me again. You try to speak. Your tongue feels heavy. Your vision blurs, but you still see Lucky, pressing his head into your hip, anchoring you as your body tries to drift away. You hear boots rush in, a scuffle, a grunt, metal clattering to the floor. Mark shouting, angry, frantic now, the mask finally cracking. Then a calmer voice. Female, close. Ellison, you are under arrest. The words sound unreal, like they belong to a different world, one where the bad man doesn't just walk away. Your sister's face stays in your vision, wavering like heat haze. Tears finally spill down her cheeks, cutting clean tracks through years of restraint. I'm here, she whispers. I'm here, and you believe her. Because her hands are on you, because Lucky's body is pressed against you, because the room smells like oil and smoke and rain and something older, hope, stubborn and alive. Your eyelids sink. Darkness closes around you, but it isn't the same darkness from the creek. This one has voices in it. This one has hands that won't let go. When you wake, it's bright, not lantern bright, not phone light, bright, daylight. It pours through a grated opening high on the wall, turning dust motes into gold drifting through air that smells of clean gauze and warm tea. You're lying on the cot. Your arm aches, bandaged neatly. Someone has removed the dart and cleaned the wound. You turn your head. Lucky is on the floor beside the cot, curled like a comma, breathing slow and deep. His muzzle rests on his paws. His chest rises and falls with the quiet confidence of a creature who finally believes the waiting is over. You shift, and his eyes open immediately. Still sharp, still yours. His tail thumps once, soft, controlled, like he doesn't want to spend too much energy, but he needs you to know he's here. You reach down and let your fingers rest between his ears. Warm, real. Your sister sits at the table, a mug between her hands. She looks up the moment you move, eyes red-rimmed but steady. She stands slowly, like she's afraid sudden movements might crack the miracle. "You're awake," she says. "Your voice comes out rough. You're real." A laugh breaks from her, and it turns into a sob she doesn't try to swallow. She comes to the cot and kneels beside it, resting her forehead briefly against her hand, like she's asking forgiveness in a language older than words. "I wanted to come back," she whispers. "Every day." You swallow, throat burning. "I wanted you to be alive." "I am," she says, voice shaking. "I'm here." Behind her, the woman from the radio steps into view. Late 40s, hair pulled back, eyes sharp with exhaustion and purpose. "I'm Agent Rahman," she says gently. "We've been building a case against Harris Health Consortium for years. Dr. Harris left breadcrumbs. Your sister kept the map." Your sister's jaw tightens. "They won't be able to bury it this time." Agent Rahman nods. "Not anymore. We have Ellison. We have the documentation. We have the equipment. And we have the living proof they can't explain away." Her gaze drops to Lucky. Lucky closes his eyes again, like he's done enough explaining for one lifetime. "Later hours maybe, you don't notice time the way you used to. It moves differently in this room, softened by relief. You learn Daniel is alive, bruised, cut, furious, but alive." He limps in with a split lip and a grin that doesn't quite hold because his eyes are wet. "Told you," he says softly. "He wouldn't let you do this alone." Lucky's tail thumps again and Daniel crouches with a wince to scratch behind his ear. Your sister watches them and something in her face eases like a knot finally loosening. When the officials leave, when the tunnel quiets, when the danger feels sealed behind locked doors and paperwork and flashing lights somewhere beyond the concrete, you're left with the smallest, biggest thing, the three of you in the same room, alive. You sit up carefully and your sister helps you. Her hands are steady now, familiar in a way that hurts. You look at Lucky. "At the clinic," you whisper. "You waited." Lucky lifts his head, eyes meeting yours. He doesn't blink. You remember the photograph dissolving in rain. You remember the way he pressed his head into your hip like a vow. Your sister's voice is soft beside you. He never stopped looking for the version of you that got left behind. You reach for your sister's hand. She takes it immediately. No hesitation. Her fingers are warm. Human. Real. Outside, daylight shifts toward late afternoon. The world continues the way it always has. Cars, wind, rain clearing into sky. But inside you, something reverses. Not the past, not the loss, but the ending you were forced to accept. You don't get back the 30 years. You don't get back the childhood that got cut in half, but you get this moment. You get the miracle that stayed stubbornly alive in a golden dog's chest. And you get the sister who made an impossible choice, not because she didn't love you, but because she loved you too much to let you be hunted. You lean forward, pressing your forehead gently to Lucky's. His breath warms your face. Your voice breaks, but it doesn't shatter. "Thank you," you whisper. Lucky's eyes close, and he releases a long, contented exhale, as if something inside him finally unclenches. As if the waiting is done. And for the first time since you were a child, the future doesn't feel like a hallway leading away from everything you lost. It feels like a door opening back toward what you thought was impossible.